Oi, mates. What's up with it, boxing fans? So finally, the Spence Crawford dust has settled a bit, and we can start focusing on other upcoming fights of interest. You know, we boxing fans are extremely opinionated, but at times we forget that it's just our opinions when we're speaking on or about our favorite boxers. We even at times forsake the respect of others and their opinions when discussing boxing. Keep in mind, an opinion is a view, judgment, or appraisal formed in the mind of about a particular matter. Up for discussion today is a proposed bout between Canelo Alvarez and Jermell Charlo, which is to take place on September 30th, I believe, on Showtime, most likely pay-per-view, in Las Vegas. Here's what I'm thinking right now, and keep in mind, these are my opinions. Either you agree with me or you disagree with me. It's all good. Most of my opinions are going to be based upon both fighters' last performances, just to keep it real and current. When last seen in the ring, Canelo Alvarez went the distance in a victory over John Ryder last May. Ryder was a tough and strong opponent, I'll admit, and he did not fold under Canelo's pressure easily. Ryder claimed Alvarez is past his best days, and based upon Canelo's performance against Ryder, it's quite possibly that way depending on how one looks at it. Canelo struggled, for lack of better terms, with Ryder, especially on the inside where he is more dominant. Ryder had an irritating uppercut that frequently popped Canelo's head up, making him say yes a lot. Overall, Canelo did not look too good to me. Maybe Canelo was suffering from a form of PTSD from the Bivol fight. But nevertheless, Canelo won the fight fair and square. Speaking of the Bivol fight, I hate to use the term exposed, but Canelo appeared to have severe issues when Bivol pushed him back with combos, which I might add is a common issue with Mexican-style fighters who are so focused more on coming forward so much that they lose all ability to function when going backwards in reverse. All athletes peak, and most times it has nothing to do with their age. But in a combat sport such as boxing, age does play a very significant role. Canelo has had a good run in the sport of boxing, but to me, it's time for the wear and tear to start showing some of its effects, especially in the performance department. Jermell Charlo, when last seen in the ring, Charlo was en route to a KO victory over Brian Castano, which was a rematch following their first fight, which ended in a split decision draw, if you recall. Charlo made his intentions very clear in this rematch. He was not going to leave the outcome of the fight of this rematch up to the judges. He brought the heat with a strong will and desire and went to war, enabling him to KO Castano in the 10th round. I think Charlo has the boxing skills to beat Canelo. I'm not saying Charlo will have an easy time against Canelo, but I believe we all know that Canelo prefers a more stationary target in the ring. So Charlo will have to rely on great tactical boxing and evasiveness. If he comes in prepared with such a game plan, he stands a great chance of defeating Canelo Alvarez. Charlo would need to use his slight height and reach advantage against Canelo from the first bell on, and basically frustrate Canelo into possibly making mistakes that he can capitalize on, as far as I see it. Canelo, on the other hand, will need to do the opposite. He will have to pressure Charlo and force him into a dogfight and quite obviously bang Charlo's body every chance he gets in an attempt to slow Charlo down greatly. Charlo would also need to avoid any heated exchanges with Canelo on the inside and try his best to maintain range like Bivol did so that he can keep Canelo at the end of his punches and push him back for obvious reasons. Basically, Charlo has to do the things that caused us to not see Canelo in the ring with slick, darker complected boxers, as the story goes. By Canelo's and his coach's own admittance, they do not like runners, as they refer to boxers that hit and avoid being hit, which to me is bullshit because all boxers, coaches work on hitting while trying to avoid being hit, right? Unfortunately for Charlo, he has to convince the fans, the judges, and the system that he beat Canelo because Canelo will still be the extreme favorite for most. So, if Charlo cannot get the KO or TKO, he has to get it by some very decisive, clean boxing. Okay then, boxing fans, that's all I have for you on this one. I now have to prepare for the onslaught of Canelo fanboys that are about to descend upon me for daring to think Charlo can possibly beat their Lord and Savior, Canelo Alvarez. All right, catch you next time. I'm out.